I thought I knew my husband like the back of my hand. I was wrong. What I found in his jacket pocket turned my life upside down in seconds. Monday started like any other day, cursing the alarm clock and trying to rouse David, who, as usual, slept like the dead. 8 years of marriage had settled me into a rhythm: coffee, breakfast, a peck on the cheek goodbye, and then I'm left alone with a mountain of chores. "Don't wait up for me," David said, pulling on his shirt. "We've got a presentation for new clients. Might run late till 10. I nodded, as I had hundreds of times before. Presentations, meetings, corporate events. His job at the ad agency was always unpredictable. I'd long stopped planning romantic dinners or expecting him home at a set time. "You didn't forget about dinner with my parents on Saturday, right?" I asked, handing him his favorite gray jacket. David froze for a split second before nodding quickly. "Of course not. Saturday, 7 o'clock, your mom's famous roast beef." He kissed my forehead, a distracted, routine kiss, and left, leaving behind a faint whiff of expensive cologne and a lingering sense of emptiness. I watched from the window as he climbed into his black, and a thought crept in. When was the last time we talked about anything other than plans and obligations? When did he last look at me like he actually saw me? Those thoughts faded in the day's chaos. I tackled a pile of laundry that seemed to grow faster than I could wash it. David's gray jacket hung carelessly over a chair, the one he wore only for important meetings. Italian fabric, a birthday gift from his colleagues. As I picked it up to hang in the closet, something heavy brushed against my thigh. Instinctively, I reached into the pocket and felt the cold surface of a phone. Strange. His iPhone was upstairs, charging. I'd seen him check his emails that morning. My heart skipped. This phone was different. An old, scratched-up, clearly used for years. A cracked screen, a peeling case. Why would David have 2 phones? I turned it over, studying every scratch. A work phone, but he already had a corporate number. An old one he forgot to throw out, then why carry it? The screen lit up at my touch. No password. And then I saw them, messages from dozens of them. My stomach knotted. The first thing that caught my eye was the date. Yesterday, 10:30 p.m., when David said he was at a late corporate training. Last night was incredible. My knees are still shaking. When is she finally going to her mom's? I'm tired of hiding. Your wife is so naive. She doesn't even suspect we've been seeing each other for 6 months. The phone slipped from my fingers, hitting the carpet with a thud. 6 months. 6 months he'd been cheating on me with this. Time stopped. I heard the kitchen clock ticking, the fridge humming, a dog barking outside. But it all felt like another universe, one where I was still married to the man I thought I knew, where I was blissfully ignorant. I sank to the floor amidst the scattered laundry, hugging my knees. No tears came. Instead, something cold and sharp surged through me, rage, spreading like poison in my veins. I picked up the phone and read on. Their texts were filled with intimate details, plans for meetups, discussions of how he lied to me. David called me a boring housewife, said our marriage was long dead, that he deserved happiness. Monica asked why I was home so late again. Had to say work was crazy, he wrote just a week ago. And I believed him. I even made his favorite lasagna and left it in the oven. Fool. Soon she's going to her mom's for the weekend. We can spend the whole night together, he wrote a month ago. I remembered that weekend. My mom had the flu and I went to take care of her. David said he'd miss me, begged me not to stay long. Meanwhile, he was planning his days with her. You're the only one who gets me. With Monica, I feel like I'm in prison. Prison, our home, our marriage, our life, his prison. I kept reading, sinking deeper into an alternate reality. In it, my husband was a passionate lover, sending long romantic texts. He planned weekend getaways, gave gifts, talked about a future. I want to wake up next to you every morning, he wrote to her. To me, over breakfast, he'd complain about headaches and ask me to speak softer. Photos, dozens of them. In the restaurant where we celebrated our last anniversary. In a hotel room, the Grand Plaza, where we'd planned a romantic getaway until he said it was too expensive. In our car, the one we bought together, debating which color we liked best. And the worst, selfies of David with her. He was smiling in a way he hadn't with me in years. His eyes glowed with a happiness I hadn't seen in our home for so long. I carefully placed the phone back in the jacket pocket, smoothed the fabric, and hung it in the closet. I finished folding the laundry, stacking it neatly. Everything as usual. But inside, something broke, and in its place, something dangerous grew. That evening, David came home in his usual mood, slightly tired but content. He kissed my cheek, complained about traffic, praised dinner. The perfect husband, the perfect liar. "How's my girl doing?" he asked, scrolling through emails. "What you do all day?" I watched him from behind the counter, studying every crease in his face. How did he lie so effortlessly? How could he look me in the eyes and play the loving husband? "Laundry," I said, watching him lie to my face. "Cleaning, the usual." He nodded, barely looking up. Of course, my boring housewife life didn't interest him. He had vibrant, passionate, free of domestic burdens. "How was the presentation?" I asked. "Great," he perked up. "Clients loved it, had to stay late to hammer out contract details." Lie number 2. From the phone, I knew he was texting at 10:30 last night from some downtown address. No presentations. "That's great," I smiled. "You work so hard, maybe we can relax this weekend. Go to the lake like we used to." David choked on his coffee. "This weekend," he quickly checked his phone's calendar. "Yeah, sure, why not?" But I saw his fingers tremble. He already had plans, with her. "David," I said softly, "you know you can tell me anything, right? If you're stressed at work or anything else." His eyes shot up, a flicker of panic crossing them. But he recovered quickly, his face calm again. "What were you talking about?" He forced a laugh, but it sounded hollow. "Everything's fine, Monica, just work stuff." "Of course," I nodded, clearing the table. "I just want you to know we can talk about anything. We're family." David stared at his phone, silent, probably checking if texted. Was he attentive with her? Caring, the way he used to be with me? "Heading to the shower," he muttered, going upstairs. As soon as I heard the water running, I slipped into the living room. The gray jacket was still in the closet. The secret phone sat in the pocket like a ticking time bomb. I pulled it out and kept reading. 6 months of texts, too many to read in one night, but some stood out. "Dave, when are you finally getting a divorce? I'm tired of being the other woman." "Soon, baby. Just need to sort out the house, the money, you know." The house, our house, bought with my savings from my old bank job. The money, probably my small inheritance, which I'd foolishly told him about. What if she finds out early? You know how suspicious she is. "Monica, she doesn't notice a thing. Lives in her little world of chores and dumb shows. I could bring you home and she wouldn't even blink." Chores and dumb shows. That's how he saw my life, the life I'd devoted to him and our home. "Sometimes I feel bad for her. She really loves you." "Don't. Monica and I are just used to each other. It's not love, it's habit. With you, I feel alive for the first time in years." Habit, 8 years of marriage reduced to a habit. The shower stopped. I slipped the phone back and returned to the kitchen. When David came down in sweats, I was washing dishes, humming, a perfect, oblivious wife. "Got a business trip tomorrow," he said, toweling his hair. "Chicago, back Thursday night." Another lie. From the texts, I knew he and had a romantic spa hotel getaway planned 2 hours away. "That's too bad," I said. "I was going to make your favorite dish tomorrow." "Next time, promise," he said, patting my shoulder absently like you'd pet a dog. That night, I lay beside him, listening to his steady breathing. He slept like a man with a clear conscience or a damn good liar. I stared at the ceiling, plotting. Morning came, and David packed for his fake trip. I helped, even tucking in his favorite shirt, the one I bought for our first anniversary. "See you Thursday," he said at the door. "I'll miss you," I smiled, kissing his lips. He didn't notice the kiss was different, cold, final. As soon as his car disappeared, I grabbed the secret phone. Time to meet. From her photos, she looked 5 years younger than me. Heavy makeup, dressed expensively. She worked at David's agency in a different department. Classic office affair. I found her social media. Reed, 28, loved travel, fine dining, and apparently other people's husbands. Her page was full of vacation shots, parties, designer boutiques, a carefree, glamorous life, the opposite of mine. But what shocked me, she wasn't single. Photos showed a man with a wedding ring. Michael, per the captions, so was cheating on her husband with mine, a twisted web of betrayal. I screenshot every damning text, saved every photo. Evidence matters. Then I created a new email at .com. The first email went to Michael Reed. Dear Michael, my name is Monica, and I have something important to tell you about your wife. She's been seeing my husband for 6 months. I have proof, texts, photos, travel records. If you want the truth, meet me on Main Street tomorrow at 3:00 p.m. I'll be in a red coat, holding a newspaper. Sending it felt like a weight lifted. The game was on. Next, I dug into our finances. David had spent thousands on restaurants, hotels, gifts, but from where? Our joint accounts looked normal, spent on routine expenses. Rifling through his papers, I found statements for a credit card he'd opened months ago. Thousands in debt for dinners, jewelry, hotels, things he never spent on me. But the kicker, he'd secretly remortgaged our house. My house, in my name as the primary borrower. He'd taken a loan against it to fund his affair. My husband wasn't just cheating. He was stealing our future to pay for his fling. The next day at 2:45 p.m., I sat in my red coat, newspaper in hand. My heart pounded, but my resolve held firm. At 3:10, a tall man with dark hair and weary eyes approached. Monica, he asked hesitantly. Michael, please sit. He looked how I felt 2 days ago, like his world had just collapsed. Ordering coffee with shaky hands, he sat across from me. Is it true, he whispered, what you wrote about? I handed him printed copies of the texts. He read in silence, growing paler with each page. 6 months, he muttered. 6 months she's been lying to me, said she was working late, had projects. My husband said the same. We have a son, Michael continued, not hearing me. He's only 2, wanted another kid, God, what if she's pregnant with his? That thought hadn't hit me, but now it stuck like a splinter. What if David and we're planning kids, the kids he never wanted with me? Michael, I said firmly, we need to act. They're playing us for fools, but we can turn the tables. He looked up, eyes red. What do you suggest? Do you know where they are now? Royal Gardens Spa Hotel, room 237, thinking we're clueless about their romantic getaway. How do you know? I have access to my husband's secret phone. They planned this trip for a month, every detail. Michael clenched his fists. I'm going there now. I'll give them a scene they'll never forget. No, I stopped him. Emotions make bad decisions. We need a plan. A cold, calculated one that gives us the upper hand in divorce. For the next hour, we plotted their downfall. Michael, a lawyer, knew how to gather evidence and file for divorce to maximize our outcomes. Your husband remortgaged the house without your consent, he asked, reviewing documents. That's fraud. You can recover the money and sue him. And she'll lose her job. Their agency has a strict no-office romance policy. Plus, in our divorce, I'll demand alimony and half her income. She loves her fancy life. Let's see how she likes living on minimum wage. We agreed to stay in touch and hold off until Thursday, when our spouses returned, thinking their secret was safe. Back home, I studied the secret phone one last time. Tomorrow, David would return, glowing from his days with his mistress, lying about Chicago with fake photos. But this time, I'd be ready. This time, I'd be the hunter. Thursday, 7:30 p.m. David was due back any minute. I made his favorite dinner, set the table for 2, even bought wine. The perfect wife welcoming her husband home. The secret phone was in my robe pocket. Their latest texts were full of longing and plans for another meetup this weekend. "These 3 days were a dream. I can't wait till we're together for good," wrote. "Soon, baby. Monica doesn't suspect a thing, just a little longer and we'll be free. Free from me, from our marriage, from everything I thought was my life." The sound of keys in the lock snapped me back. Showtime. "Honey," I called, rushing to the door. "I missed you so much." David looked rested, happy. Tanned, though Chicago's weather wouldn't allow it, relaxed, with a spark in his eyes I hadn't seen in years. "Hey, Monica." He hugged me, but his body tensed. Hugging his wife after 3 days with his mistress clearly felt wrong. "How was Chicago? Tell me everything," I chirped, helping him with his coat. "Same old. Meetings, presentations, boring business dinners," he waved off. "You know how it is." Oh, I knew. Business dinners with couples massages and champagne baths. "Bring anything back?" I asked playfully. David froze. Of course he forgot to get me even a magnet. All gifts went to. Didn't have time. Flight got delayed, had to rush home." "No worries," I smiled. "I'm just glad you're back. Sit, I made your favorite lasagna." Over dinner, David spun tales of Chicago clients, weather issues, how he missed home cooking. Every word a lie, delivered so convincingly I'd have believed him if I didn't know the truth. "And you, what you do?" he asked, clearly out of politeness. "Boring without you, cleaning, reading, watching shows." I paused. "Oh, Mom called, invited us to the cabin Saturday, barbecue, whole family." His face flickered with irritation. Saturday, he likely had plans with. "Saturday, sure, but I might have a work thing." "Work again?" I feigned disappointment. "You work so hard. Maybe we should take a vacation soon, like old times." "Yeah, definitely, soon, just swamped with projects." Same excuses, same reasons we couldn't spend time together. Now I knew why. After dinner, he showered, and I checked the phone. A new text from sent 30 minutes ago. "How's it at home? Wife still clueless. Meet me tomorrow at the usual spot. Miss your hands." The usual spot. A motel on the city's edge, their Friday night routine. Romantic. I texted Michael. "Tomorrow's Friday, ready for the final act." His reply was instant. "More than ready, everything's set, they're in for a surprise." Friday began normally. David was jittery, probably excited for. He took ages getting ready, changed shirts twice, used my expensive cologne. "Might be late again," he said, avoiding my eyes. "New project, you know." "Of course, dear, don't overdo it." I saw him to the door and kissed his cheek, for the last time. By 5:00 p.m. I was ready. Black dress, slimming, light makeup bold enough to highlight my eyes, hair in an elegant updo. If I was going to ruin lives, I'd look damn good doing it. The Pine Grove Motel was 30 minutes from downtown, a cheap spot for cheap rendezvous. I parked where I could see the lot but stay hidden. At 6:30, pulled up in a red convertible, expensive car for a woman meeting at a dive motel. She looked stunning, short dress, heels, hair flowing. I saw why David lost his head. 10 minutes later, he arrived. Even from a distance, his face lit up seeing her. They embraced on the lot, kissing without a care. They went into room 15. Their usual room, booked every Friday for 6 months. I waited 30 minutes, letting them settle. Then I texted Michael. "They're in room 15. Let's do this." He arrived 10 minutes later with a female detective he'd hired for evidence and a notary. All by the book. "Ready?" he asked. "More than ready." We approached room 15. Michael knocked. "Housekeeping," the detective called. "We didn't order any." David's voice came through. "Sir, there's a plumbing issue in the room below. We need to check for leaks." Muffled voices, rustling. A minute later, David opened the door in a motel robe, paling when he saw us. "Monica, what are you how?" "Hey, honey," I said calmly. "Didn't expect to see me, did you?" Peeked from the bathroom, wrapped in a towel. Seeing Michael, she gasped and tried to hide. "Michael, I can explain." "Explain to your husband," he said coldly. "To the detective, the notary, and the judge next week." The detective snapped photos. Half-dressed lovers, clothes strewn about, a champagne bottle on the nightstand, a receipt in David's name. "Monica, wait," David stammered, grabbing my arm. "It's not what you think." I looked at the man I'd lived with for 8 years. The man I trusted, loved, gave up my career for. "It's exactly what I think," I said quietly. "You lied to my face for 6 months, spent our money on her, remortgaged our house, thought I was too dumb to notice." "How did you find out?" I pulled out the secret phone. "You left this in your jacket Monday. All your texts, photos, plans, I've got copies of everything." David clutched his head. "Monica, I love you. It was just a moment of madness." 6 months isn't a moment," I cut him off. "It's a choice. Every day, every meeting, every lie, you chose her over me." Tried to jump in. "Look, we're adults, we all deserve happiness." Michael turned on her. "Happiness? What about our son? The family you destroyed for another woman's husband?" "Michael, please." "No, you made your choice. Now pay for it." 2 months later, the divorce was finalized. Michael, a brilliant lawyer, ensured David lost everything. The house stayed mine as the primary borrower and victim. The fraudulent loan was voided, the debt erased. Lost her job, HR didn't take kindly to office affairs. Michael got custody of their son and 60% of her income as alimony. Her glamorous life was over. David tried contacting me. Long letters begging forgiveness, promising change, swearing he'd learned his lesson. I didn't respond. Some things can't be fixed with words. I last saw them together 3 months post-divorce in a cheap diner. Looked worn, older, dressed down. David looked lost. They were arguing, no trace of the passion from their photos. Love built on lies and betrayal wasn't as strong as they thought. As for me, I sold the house and bought a small downtown apartment. I went back to work at the bank. My old boss was thrilled to have me. I enrolled in French classes I'd dreamed of for years. 6 months later, I met Tom, a divorced doctor with a teenage daughter. He doesn't lie about business trips, doesn't hide phones, looks me in the eyes when he says he loves me. Sometimes I wonder what would happen if I hadn't found that phone. Would I have lived in ignorance until David left me? Would that have been easier? I don't know, but I do know this. The truth, however painful, is always better than a beautiful lie. That Monday changed my life, but not how David thought. He thought he'd ruined it. In reality, he set me free. 1 year later. Yesterday, I got a wedding invitation. Michael's marrying a kind, smart colleague who adores his son. They look happy in the photos. David sent a card, asking to meet. He's split with, says he's realized his mistakes, wants to start over. I tore it up before finishing. Some doors once closed stay shut. Dear viewers, if Monica's story moved you, and you made it this far, it means it touched your heart. Hit that like button if you felt for her journey. Share this with friends. Someone out there might need to hear that truth always triumphs over lies. Subscribe to the channel for more gripping stories of love, betrayal, revenge, and justice.